the alien princess said. "You'd make a good husband." I tried not to fall for her. I didn't come to the stars to become anyone's husband. I came because Earth was crowded, tired, and quietly afraid of what the next century would bring. When the Interstellar Compact opened civilian exchange programs, I signed up without hesitation. 6-year contract. Cultural liaison. Low risk, they said. Observe, report, learn, return. No one mentioned accidentally catching the attention of an alien princess whose people measured honor in life bonds and silence in centuries. My first sight of the Calarian capital nearly convinced me I was dreaming. The city was grown, not built. Vast crystalline arches rising like frozen waves from a violet sea. Light refracted through every surface, bathing the air in shifting colors. Gravity felt softer here, as if the planet itself was curious about me and hadn't decided how firmly to hold on. I was escorted through the upper spires by a pair of royal guards, tall and slender, their armor alive with faint bioluminescent veins. They didn't speak, but they watched everything. I kept my hands visible and my breathing steady, repeating the same phrase in my head. "You're a guest. Don't mess this up." Princess Lyrathiel was waiting in the solar atrium. She stood near a pool of liquid light, actual light somehow captured and flowing like water. Her people were tall, willowy, with elongated features and skin that shimmered like moonstone. Lyrathiel's hair cascaded down her back in soft silver strands, and her eyes were a deep, patient blue, the kind that suggested she'd seen more than she ever said. She turned when I entered, studying me with an intensity that made my spine straighten on instinct. "So," she said, her voice melodic but calm, "you are the human." I resisted the urge to bow too deeply. "Daniel Carter. Cultural liaison." "It's an honor, Princess." She tilted her head, considering me. "You stand as if expecting a blow." "Habit," I replied honestly. "Humans are complicated." That earned me a faint smile. "So I have read." Our first conversation lasted nearly an hour. She asked about Earth, its oceans, its wars, its art. She listened closely, occasionally asking questions that cut straight to the heart of things. Not what we did, but why. When it ended, she stepped closer, close enough that I could see faint constellations beneath her translucent skin. "You'd make a good husband," she said simply. I laughed. Actually laughed, because what else could I do? Her expression didn't change. No embarrassment. No teasing. Just a statement delivered with quiet certainty. "I'm sorry," I said quickly, still smiling in disbelief. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." "No," she replied. "There has not." I should have been alarmed. I should have requested reassignment immediately. Instead, I found myself curious. And that was my first mistake. Over the following weeks, I learned that Calarian courtship didn't involve flirting or romance as humans understood it. It was an evaluation. A careful, methodical process of observing how someone reacted to stress, kindness, loss, and power. Princess Lyrathiel invited me to accompany her on diplomatic visits, public ceremonies, even private meals. Each time I reminded myself of the rules. She's alien. She's royalty. She's not yours. And each time it became harder to remember why that mattered. She watched how I treated servants, with respect. How I spoke to guards, with humor. How I refused gifts I hadn't earned. Once, during a minor trade dispute, a noble attempted to provoke me, clearly expecting the impulsiveness humans were known for. I didn't rise to it. Later that evening, Lyrathiel joined me on a balcony overlooking the city. "You disappointed him," she said. "I try to do that to bullies," I replied. She studied me in silence. "You do not seek dominance, nor do you seek submission. That is rare. I just want things to be fair." "Fairness," she repeated softly. "A dangerous ideal." I shrugged. "Still worth trying." That was the first night she shared something personal. "My people bond only once," she said. "We do not divorce. We do not outgrow. When we choose, it is forever." I swallowed. That's a lot of pressure. Yes. Which is why I choose carefully. There was again that calm certainty, as if she were already halfway convinced. I began to notice small things. The way she lingered when we walked together. How her voice softened when she said my name. How she defended me in council chambers without hesitation. And how much it scared me. Because I was falling for her. Fully. Quietly. Like gravity. The turning point came during the Festival of Still Skies. A once-in-a-century event celebrating peace between star systems. The atrium was filled with dignitaries from dozens of worlds. Music drifted through the air, low and resonant. Lyrathiel stood beside me, radiant in ceremonial attire that shimmered like dawn. "You are troubled," she said. "I don't belong here," I replied before I could stop myself. "I'm just a guy from Earth. I'll go home someday." Her gaze didn't waver. "Do you wish to?" The question hit harder than any accusation. "I don't know," I admitted. That night, an assassination attempt shattered the illusion of safety. A faction opposed to interspecies alliances struck during the closing ceremony. Energy fire erupted. Screams echoed. Chaos followed. I didn't think. I moved. I tackled Lyrathiel to the ground, shielding her with my body as guards returned fire. A blast grazed my side, searing pain ripping through me, but I held on until it was over. When it was done, I was bleeding on a marble floor that had never known violence. She knelt beside me, her hands glowing softly as she pressed them to my wound, stabilizing me until medics arrived. Her composure cracked for the first time. "You could have died," she whispered. "So could you," I replied weakly. Seemed unfair to let that happen. Later, in the recovery chamber, she stood at my bedside long after the healers said I would be fine. "My people say that love is revealed not in words but in instinct," she said quietly. "You did not hesitate." "I didn't plan it," I admitted. "That is why it matters." When I was cleared for duty, I expected distance. Formality. Instead, she requested a private audience. "I will ask you once," she said. Without expectation. Without pressure. She met my eyes, all royal titles stripped away. "Will you stay?" The room felt too small. Too quiet. "I'm human," I said. "I'll age. I'll change. I'll mess up. I don't know if I can be what you deserve." She stepped closer. "I do not seek perfection. I seek constancy." "And if I say yes," I asked, "there's no going back?" She nodded. "For either of us." I thought of Earth. Of the life I'd left behind. Of the stars I'd come to see. And of the woman, alien, impossible, extraordinary, standing before me, offering not a fairy tale but a future. "I tried not to fall for you," I said softly. Her lips curved into the gentlest smile I'd ever seen. "And yet," she replied, "you did." The ceremony was simple by royal standards. No grand spectacle. Just vows spoken beneath the open sky, stars reflected in crystalline stone. I wore Calarian ceremonial robes, my human identity woven into alien tradition. When we bonded, it wasn't fireworks or magic. It was warmth. A sense of alignment. As if two paths that had never meant to cross finally agreed to walk together. Years passed. I became more than a liaison. I became a bridge. Some days were hard. Cultural misunderstandings. Political tensions. Loneliness for a world I could no longer fully return to. But there was laughter too. Shared silence. Purpose. One evening, as we stood watching twin suns dip below the horizon, Lyrathiel took my hand. "You were right," she said. "About what?" "Fairness. It is dangerous." I smiled. "Still worth trying?" She leaned against me. "Always." I never came to the stars to become a husband. But somehow I became the right one. And in doing so, I found a home I never knew I was looking for.